Hi there. Welcome to Insibook. Have you ever thought to yourself, what if the greatest superpower in a chaotic world is stillness? Stillness is the key. Ryan Holiday draws wisdom from ancient philosophy, modern psychology, and timeless history to prove that clarity, peace, and power begin in a still mind. In this Insibook summary, we break down how to find calm in the chaos, and why stillness isn't weakness, it's mastery. In this age of constant connection, relentless notifications, and unending demands on our attention, a profound sense of unease and overwhelm has become the norm. We feel perpetually rushed, scattered, and unable to truly think, feel, or connect. Our minds race, our bodies ache from stress, and our actions become reactive rather than intentional. There's a gnawing feeling that something essential is missing, a sense of peace and control that seems increasingly out of reach. We are bombarded by information, opinions, and stimuli, leaving us feeling drained, anxious, and disconnected from ourselves and the world around us. It's as if we're living on the surface, tossed about by every passing wave of digital noise and external pressure, never finding a solid place to stand. This relentless barrage fragments our attention, erodes our ability to focus deeply, and makes meaningful work and genuine presence feel like impossible luxuries. The modern condition often feels like a frantic, exhausting race against time, fueled by a fear of missing out and a deep-seated belief that busyness equates to importance. But what if the antidote isn't more speed, more efficiency, or more information, but something radically different? What if the most powerful skill we could cultivate isn't about doing more, but about being more present, more focused, more deliberate? This is the invitation to discover the transformative power of stillness. Stillness isn't about dropping out or becoming passive. It's the opposite. It's about cultivating an unshakable inner calm and clarity that allows us to navigate the chaos of life with purpose and effectiveness. It's the quiet confidence that comes from understanding yourself, managing your internal world, and acting from a place of centeredness rather than reaction. It's the anchor that holds you steady when the storms rage. It's the foundational practice that unlocks discipline, resilience, and true effectiveness in every area of life. Without it, we are adrift. With it, we find our bearings and chart our own course. To understand stillness, we must first recognize its absence. Consider the sheer volume of stimuli we voluntarily subject ourselves to daily: endless scrolling, breaking news alerts, constant communication, the pressure to keep up appearances online and offline. This is a voluntary assault on our senses and our minds. We've become addicted to the frantic pace, mistaking activity for productivity, noise for engagement. This state of perpetual external focus leaves our inner lives starved. Our thoughts become shallow, our emotions volatile, and our ability to engage in deep, meaningful reflection diminishes. We react instinctively, driven by impulse rather than wisdom. We mistake the noise for life itself, forgetting that clarity, creativity, and true understanding arise only in the quiet spaces. This frantic energy prevents us from hearing our own inner voice, from processing experiences properly, and from making the deliberate choices that shape a life of purpose. It leaves us feeling perpetually distracted, unable to commit fully to the task or the person in front of us, living a life punctuated by shallow interactions and unfinished thoughts. Yet, history and philosophy offer a profound counter-narrative. Across cultures and centuries, the wisest minds have consistently pointed towards stillness as the path to understanding, power, and peace. Think of the ancient philosophers who sought wisdom through contemplation, retreating from the clamor of the world to understand the nature of reality and the self. Consider the great religious figures who found divine connection and profound insight during periods of solitude and fasting. Reflect on the artists, writers, and scientists who produced their greatest works not in a frenzy of activity, but through periods of intense, quiet focus. They understood something crucial: that the external world is often a distraction from the internal work that truly matters. They practiced cultivating a space of quiet within themselves, a sanctuary where clarity could emerge, where creativity could flow, and where the noise of the world faded into insignificance. This inner sanctuary isn't built overnight. It requires conscious effort and practice across multiple dimensions of our being. It unfolds in three interconnected realms: the mind, the body, and our actions in the world. First, there is the stillness of the mind. This is perhaps the most challenging, yet the most critical, aspect. Our minds are often unruly places, filled with racing thoughts, anxieties, regrets, and distractions. We grapple with intrusive thoughts, worries about the future, and replays of the past. The goal here is not to empty the mind, an impossible task, but to gain mastery over it. It's about developing the capacity to observe our thoughts without being swept away by them, to choose where we direct our attention, and to cut through the mental clutter. Imagine your mind like a turbulent lake. Stillness is what allows the sediment to settle, revealing the clear depths beneath. Practices like meditation or simply taking moments to breathe and observe are essential tools. They train us to recognize when our mind has wandered and gently bring it back. This practice builds mental resilience, reducing the power of negative emotions like anger, frustration, and anxiety. When someone wrongs you, the instinct might be immediate anger. But stillness allows you to pause, to observe the anger arise and pass without needing to act on it, preventing a rash response and preserving your equilibrium. It's about creating space between stimulus and response, a space where thoughtful decision-making can occur. This mental discipline also involves simplifying our cognitive load, consciously choosing what information to consume, letting go of unnecessary mental burdens, and focusing on what is essential. It's about quieting the internal chatter that prevents us from hearing our intuition or engaging deeply with the present moment. Then, we must cultivate the stillness of the body. The mind and body are inextricably linked. A restless, unhealthy, or neglected body inevitably contributes to a restless mind. Conversely, a disciplined, healthy body provides a stable foundation for mental clarity. This doesn't mean becoming an elite athlete, but rather attending to our physical vessel with intention. It involves regular, consistent movement, not necessarily punishing workouts, but activities that connect us with our physical selves, like walking, yoga, or any form of exercise that feels grounding. It means paying attention to what we consume, nourishing our bodies with good food and water, rather than relying on stimulants or processed quick fixes that create internal chaos. Sleep is paramount. A well-rested body is far more capable of achieving mental stillness. We must also practice controlling our physical impulses, resisting the urge for constant gratification, managing our energy levels, and finding physical grounding through practices like deep breathing or simply standing tall. Think of the discipline required to resist unhealthy food cravings or the urge to stay in bed when you know you need to get up and move. These small physical victories reinforce mental control and build resilience. A body that is treated with respect and discipline becomes a source of strength, not a liability, supporting the mind's quest for quiet and focus. Finding moments for physical stillness, like stretching or simply resting peacefully, allows the body to release tension and signals to the mind that it's safe to relax. Finally, and perhaps most counterintuitively, stillness informs stillness in action. This isn't about withdrawal from the world or avoiding necessary tasks. Instead, it's about acting from that place of inner calm and clarity we've cultivated. True effectiveness doesn't come from frantic, unfocused energy, but from deliberate, intentional action. Stillness allows us to approach our work and responsibilities with focus and presence. It means resisting the urge to constantly check notifications while working on a critical project, resisting the impulse to multitask, and instead dedicating focused blocks of time to deep work. It involves patience, understanding that not everything requires an immediate response, that sometimes the best action is strategic waiting. It's about making decisions deliberately, gathering necessary information, considering consequences, and then acting with conviction, rather than being swayed by external pressures or fleeting emotions. Think of a master craftsman, completely absorbed in their work, every movement precise and intentional, or a chess grandmaster, calmly analyzing the board, considering multiple moves ahead. They aren't frantic, they are present and deliberate. This stillness in action also means simplifying our lives and commitments. We often take on too much, spreading ourselves thin and sacrificing depth for breadth. Stillness encourages us to identify what is truly important, to say no to the rest, and to pour our energy into those vital few things. It fosters a sense of purpose, ensuring our actions align with our values and goals rather than simply reacting to the demands of the day. It's about finding the flow state, where action becomes almost effortless because it stems from a place of deep concentration and alignment. Throughout this journey, we encounter obstacles. The biggest is often our own addiction to distraction. The constant dopamine hits from notifications, social media, and constant novelty create a dependency that makes stepping away feel physically uncomfortable, even frightening. We feel the phantom vibrations of our phones, the urge to check email, even when we know there's nothing urgent. This is the inner tyrant, that part of us that demands constant stimulation and equates busyness with worth. Overcoming this requires conscious effort and the courage to disconnect. Scheduling time away from screens, turning off notifications, creating tech-free zones or times, these are not radical acts, but necessary steps to reclaim our focus. Solitude is another powerful yet often feared practice. In a world that prizes constant social interaction, intentionally seeking time alone can feel isolating. Yet, solitude is where we reconnect with ourselves. It's in these quiet moments that we can process emotions, reflect on experiences, and hear our own thoughts without the influence of others. Think of the writers who retreated to cabins, the leaders who scheduled regular time for reflection. They knew that alone time wasn't loneliness, but a vital source of clarity and self-knowledge. Nature also offers a potent form of stillness, stepping away from the built environment and immersing ourselves in the natural world. Walking in a forest, sitting by the sea, simply observing the sky, has a grounding, calming effect. Nature operates on a different timescale, reminding us of rhythms larger than our own anxieties. It helps recalibrate our senses and quiet the mental noise. The path to stillness isn't about achieving a permanent state of Zen tranquility. Life is inherently messy and challenging. Rather, it's about developing the capacity to return to stillness again and again whenever we feel ourselves getting overwhelmed or lost. It's a practice, a muscle to be built. It involves recognizing the patterns that lead to distraction and overwhelm, and proactively implementing strategies to counteract them. It means embracing discipline not as punishment, but as a form of self-care, a way of protecting our energy and attention. It means understanding that setbacks are part of the process. Some days will be more chaotic than others, but the commitment to returning to stillness is what matters. The rewards for undertaking this practice are immense. Cultivating stillness leads to profound improvements in clarity of thought. When the mental noise subsides, we can see situations more objectively, make better decisions, and solve problems more effectively. Our focus sharpens, allowing us to accomplish more meaningful work in less time. Creativity flourishes when the mind isn't constantly occupied with anxious chatter. Stillness creates the fertile ground for new ideas to emerge. Our relationships deepen as we become more present and attentive to the people in our lives, listening more effectively and communicating more thoughtfully. Resilience grows. Facing challenges becomes easier when we have an inner anchor to hold on to. We become less reactive to setbacks and external pressures, able to weather storms with greater composure. Perhaps most importantly, stillness cultivates a deep sense of inner peace and contentment. It allows us to appreciate the present moment, to find joy in simple things, and to feel a sense of groundedness regardless of external circumstances. It reconnects us to our core selves, allowing us to live with greater intention, purpose, and authenticity. Ultimately, stillness is the key not just to productivity or success, but to a richer, more meaningful human experience. It is the forgotten art in a world obsessed with speed and distraction. It requires us to push back against the relentless tide of busyness and reclaim our attention, our energy, and our inner lives. It asks us to be intentional about where we direct our focus, both internally and externally. By cultivating stillness in our minds, we gain clarity and control over our thoughts and emotions. By bringing stillness to our bodies, we build a foundation of health and discipline that supports our mental state. And by practicing stillness in our actions, we become more effective, deliberate, and purposeful in everything we do. It's a continuous practice, a commitment to returning to center amidst the inevitable chaos. It's about finding that quiet space within, where true strength, wisdom, and peace reside, allowing us to navigate the complexities of life not as victims of circumstance, but as masters of ourselves. It is the path back to ourselves and the foundation upon which a truly fulfilling life can be built.